I'm Molly, you're watching Mirror Readings, and we're talking about Gene Key 18 today. So a lot of times the Siddhi in any given gene key can show up as an obstacle on the path between the shadow and the gift. So can you see how perfection could easily be an obstacle that blocks getting through judgment and into integrity? Because perfection is there being like, look at me, I'm perfect, and judgment can never actually see perfection. That shadow of judgment is always going to find something to judge. So yeah, of course, it's going to block that Siddhic state of perfection, which of course has to do with transcending all judgment anyway and realizing that everything's perfect just the way it is, even if it's totally fucked, but we'll get to that in a second. So getting from the shadow to the gift frequency of key 18 has to do with how tightly or lightly we hold our opinions. Our brains are always scanning for data. So like, trying to just not be judgmental or to not have an opinion isn't going to work. It's all about how much we identify, or preferably do not identify, with that judgment. Because if we're holding it really tightly, then it's having all this influence over us. But if we hold on lightly and we're willing to just let go of our opinions and judgments very easily and always be open to new information, we're already stepping into that gift of integrity. This key, if you have it in your chart, is heavily influenced by your teenage years. So pay particular attention if you have it in your IQ or EQ in your Venus sequence, which represents imprints that we received between the age of 14 and 21 years old. But this key has a lot of influence on whether we pass cleanly into adulthood after our teenage years or whether we come into adulthood as a wounded child. The gift of integrity means that we're completely aligned. Our thoughts, our words, our deeds are all in alignment. Integrity is actually an architectural term. It refers to structural soundness. When you think integrity, think integration. It's all about that alignment between our thoughts, words, and deeds. And if we're not ready to see what our underlying motivations are, it's probably because we're still judging ourselves. We're still in that shadow of judgment. And we have to really examine those judgments and learn to hold them lightly in order to access that gift of integrity, which is all about being an integrated, aligned adult. The thing about that gift of integrity that they don't tell you is that when we stabilize in that gift frequency, we're setting a very high standard both for ourselves and for others. So anyone who comes into our field is going to have to match that standard if they're going to stay in our lives. That means when we come into alignment, when our thoughts, words, and deeds are all aligned on the same frequency, we can throw other people who are close to us who don't have that degree of alignment or aren't striving for it off. We can lose people when we stabilize in this gift. That is such a tough reality of doing deep personal and spiritual transformation work, is that when people are not interested in their own growth, we tend to lose them along the way. It's really fucking painful. And if you have this 18th key in your profile, this might be a big theme for you. And of course, the Siddhi of perfection is all about releasing any idea of perfection and realizing that everything is perfect because creation is giving our soul what it needs in the moment to learn and evolve. We apparently asked to be here on Earth. We asked to play this game. Seeing perfection as the underlying imprint of all creation is definitely a feature of enlightenment, but it's something that we can practice as a thought exercise while we're on the path. Whatever is happening, Kabbalah says we say pause. Thank you for the pleasure. Thank you for the gift. This is happening for my soul's correction, and just stay positive. This Siddhi is a connection to our higher selves, and it's also a connection to everybody else's highest self, right? When we're past judgment, when we're in integrity, we don't see the individual avatar. I see the soul of whoever I'm looking at. I see the highest self of whoever I'm judging in that moment, and all of a sudden that judgment disappears. I'm Molly. Thank you for sticking with me. You're watching Mirror Readings, and if you'd like to get a Gene Keys reading from me, please head on over to my website, mirrorreadings.com, and subscribe to this channel to save 15%. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.